Facebook is showing it. Instagram, YouTube. What do we got? Good. Countdown. It's the countdown. Countdown. Okay. All right. There should be like some theme music playing or something. Ba-bam, bam, ba-bam, bam. 2-minute intro. Oh yeah. Ugh. Dusty. 25 seconds. What do we got? Oh, that's that plug. You have to look into that. That might just work. Oh no, that's for the camera. Can't use that. 2, 1. Boof. Live with Justin R. Harris. Welcome to my YouTube channel, Justin R. Harris. That is my name. Here we go. It's Saturday morning, and we are on what is the first weekend, right, of February into 2022. I try to drop these bombs every Saturday morning. I'm a little late today. I'll tell you why. I was cutting my hair, you know what I mean? I fell a little bit behind on time. You know, I cut my hair, shaved the beard up, tried to look, nice and sharp. So moving along, today was kind of more of a rant. I'm watching a lot going on with the market, both for the stock market and the real estate market. And it's been real froggy. A lot of the coverage that's going on right now has been really about a lot of this CDC stuff, right? With the pandemic and false claims. And now there's a lot of political fights going on what we should have done and should not have done. That's not what this conversation is about. It's not what I'm here for, to do my rant today, but that's how I'm going to segue, because that's really what has been going on. And what I want to talk about is how that has affected, where we are today with money. And I'll also update you on some deals and stuff like that, like I always do. So welcome to my channel. Like, subscribe, Facebook follow, keep up to date so I can keep dropping gems on you. I'm not quite ready to start dropping on Wednesdays yet. Reason being is because, like I said last Saturday, if you guys are keeping up, I'm that busy. So busy is good, right? Working deals. I was fortunate enough to try to scramble another deal this past week, from, talking and, meeting people and getting deals. And that's kind of how it happens, like you can't get a deal going if you're not out talking to people. Then it's just a secret, right? Kind of weird. Hey, look, I like that background there. I thought it was pretty cool. I wanted to share that with you guys. So moving along here, I am scrolling through some of the information that I did gather. And it's crazy. One of my sources that I keep up with when I'm paying attention to the stock market, when it comes to news and updates with corporations, I try to stay away from some of the sites that are more politically encouraged, or I stay away from that. You know what I mean? Because it's bias. It's swaying one purpose or another. And at the end of the day, when we're talking dollars and cents, that's the only purpose we care about, right? When you're moving your money, that's what's important, right? So I don't care about, the red or the blue party and all that nonsense, right? Let's who's going to make me some money this year? All right. If you're not going to do that for me, get out of the way, move, get out the way. So we're not doing that, right? So it's funny because looking at Market Watch and covering some of the generalized topics here, there's a lot going on, as you guys all know. A lot of people are kind of sitting and watching. There's been a lot of sell-off in the stock market. People are like, what is this about? I know it's greatly influenced by a few things. Obviously, politics play a huge role in, a lot of decisions that are made with trading. And it's no secret that the cryptocurrency industry has just been flying right now as far as, and it's crazy because I follow, what is her name? I follow quite a few YouTubers that provide some pretty credible source. I'm looking at my phone here, and she made some valid points about what's happening, and and the way she trades. But what I thought was pretty cool was, let's see if I can pull it up here. Where is her stuff? Oh, Trade, Travel, Chill. That's her YouTube. and she kind of pointed out. She pointed out about the whole um. When she did her graph, she was looking at Bitcoin, and she's I think she's in Australia, and so she's like 14 hours ahead of us. Well, here on the East Coast, United States, um, like a day and a half ahead. But what she pointed out was how it was starting to consolidate, and then there was an appearance. I don't know what scale she was looking at when she was looking at the candlesticks. I didn't pay attention to that part. I was just looking at her graph where she was showing that the consolidation, and that you know this was typical for a breakout. Now the problem is when you watch consolidations, is that breakout, historically could be up or down, right? So and it is your best case um, analytics that you go through, and you look at the previous trend to determine whether or not that's going to be up or down. You're looking at the EMA, you're looking at your volume, things like that, to determine whether or not this is more likely going to break up or break down if you're a short person or if you like to buy, right? So that's pretty cool. And I watched and I was like, and when I look at it this morning, because I get constant updates on my different platforms. I'm either on Coinbase Pro. I'm looking at TradingView. I trade on Webull. I do not use Webull for cryptocurrency because I've experienced some bad trades there as a result of the way their system works, because there's a third party that Webull uses, and until they get that together, I won't be using them for that. But oh, and it's crazy what's happening with Cardano right now. Is that what's going on? Like I'm seeing them starting to trend a little more. Good for Ethereum being up to 3,015 right at this very second of my recording. Bitcoin's at 41,455 and 74 cents. That's up 2.55%. So what I wanted to look at is, because this is what she was talking about. So I'm going to back up and see where was the consolidation. What day was that she explained that? This is the day chart. And nope, not seeing it. But I don't see the breakout. I see where she was showing a consolidation, but it actually did not show much of a breakout. We're still kind of sideways here. If you're looking at Coinbase right now as I'm talking to you, and you look at Bitcoin, I'm on the day graph, and now we're kind of sideways up until, what time is that? Up until about 9 a.m. this morning, 9:30, we got up a little bit. We got up to 41, but we were sideways right there. Yeah, at about 9:30 at 41,521 and 90 cents. We were kind of, that average right there just kind of, and then it looks like at about 7 p.m. we were at 41,742. Oh, 41,970. There it is. Get up there. Where's my boop? 970. That's a jump right there. That's awesome. But I didn't want to talk about crypto either. But I did just now. It's you know what it is there's so much. I mean, depending on where you are in the investment market right now, and I'm sitting here and I'm chatting with you guys and I'm brainstorming. It's not because I don't have anything to talk about, although I feel like I don't have anything to talk about because there's so much to talk about. But it all comes down to one point right now. It's like, what is going on? Everyone is kind of like wondering what's going on. And it's hard because you don't want to be the sit and wonderer. You want to make a move, right? And that's where I was yesterday, right? So yesterday I jumped in. I was, doing my day trading, and I jumped in on a trade. I watched the market open, and I have my rules, right? I was like, okay, here we go. And I'll tell you exactly what happened. I'll walk you through it, dude. And I was just like, all right, none of these look like the ones I want to trade. It's like, why not? Right? What's happening right now? Why aren't any of these moving the way I want to? And so I'm watching and I'm watching. And I normally don't jump in on like, I try to stay away from, uh, there it is right there. I like to trade on the penny up to like $2 a share. I'm not a big dog, you know, but I'll grab like 100 to 1,000 of those, and I'll make, you know, I'll make some decent returns, and that's because, listen, I'm 2 years in the game. Okay, I'm not on here telling you I'm a millionaire making, you know, $1,000 a day and that kind of thing. Um, you know, I aspire to be that great and I'm working towards it. But right now, I'm not breaking my discipline. I refuse, right? Don't let it happen. That's the emotion. That's why these guys come on here and then they tell you a sob story on what they just did. There's already like a 45 to 55% return, you know, or success rate, not return, success rate on when you're trading. So the obvious goal here is to, you know, stay as successful as possible, make smarter trades, learn from your last trade, pay attention to the market. Don't jump in with that FOMO crap thinking that, you know what, I don't want to not trade today. Dude, there's some days where I'm like, nope, not doing it, not doing it, not doing it. And I'll go through different ones and I watch what's happening and I'll start trying other things, right? So I'll go back because you have to sharpen your tools, right? So I'll go back and I'll watch other people, other successful traders, and I'll converse with them, and I'll watch some of their videos and where they talk about some things that I don't already know, or maybe some things where I knew it was a great video and I needed to hear it again, because you don't always absorb the same information the first time, right? So you just may not have been there mentally, but then you revisit it again and it's as clear as day. You start seeing the matrix falling in front of you, right? And it all lines up. So you know what you can and you can't do. And yesterday was that day. Yesterday I was watching the market and I'm like, oh, you know what? This company looks good. It was INDO is the market, their ticker. And I'm watching them. I was like, wow, they're up there, my top traders. So I always look at my top gainers, right? I'll tell you what I do is, what? Come on. It's not a secret recipe. If you can attain my recipe, there's tons of them out there. You see all these videos. Listen, every one of these different strategies that people use work. Here's the problem. You're the problem. The problem is you don't stick to your routine without allowing yourself to add in that what if thought in your head. Well, what if I just wait a little longer? You know, if I hold on, or if I didn't pull out when I should have. Oh, well, there you go. Right? So that's honestly, that's the lesson. That right there is the biggest takeaway. If there's anything for you to take away right now and walk away from this video, it is take your emotion out of your money. Okay? Follow your rules. Make sure your numbers work. You're not going to go wrong, right? So what I do is I look at my stock, right? Whoever I'm deciding to entertain for that day, I give a shit about your company, right? I'm looking at performance, okay? So then I go on there and I'm like, all right, look at this guy. Look at his volume. Oh, his volume trade. His average volume is 900,000. Next, I'll move on. Next one. Ooh, look at you. Your average volume is 1 million. That's pretty good. Next. Why? Okay, so the first thing I look at is volume. Why? Because depending on the volume is going to be the amount of players on that share, right? On that company, on that company. So that has shown me that when I jump on trades that are over, I want to say my minimum number is about 30 million in volume. But when they're in that 50, 60, 70, 100 million in volume, that trade, that little freaking candlestick, that bad boy is moving. There's numbers moving, right? So you know that people are playing ball, right? So I want that because I know now that my next task in looking at it for my rules, for my technical analysis, is going to apply because now I'm looking at the EMA, right? And I have my EMA set at 10 and 30, and I'm watching. I want to make sure that on my 15-minute ticker, my 15-minute time, my green is above. Okay. In this case, I'm sorry, it's my blue. My blue is above. Then what I'm looking for is, when I see that, I'm looking for, obviously, if the blue is above for my settings, then I'm in the uptrend. Okay. So I definitely want the uptrend, right? If you're not playing around with the uptrend, you're wrong. No, that just means you're shorting. If that's your game, right? Then, let's stay out of dealing with margin calls, right? So you want to short, you have a good game. Either way, whichever strategy is, you make sure that the trend is in your favor. In my case, I like to buy. I don't like to short. I like to buy on the uptrend. So I'm going in on that, and I make sure that all that falls. So I'm looking at my uptrend. I'm looking to see my blue over red. I'm looking to make sure my volume is where it needs to be. And then what brings me to that share is, like I said, I normally play with the shares that are in the cents, 80, 90 cent shares, up to about $2. In this case, I broke my rule because their game just was not being played. And then I saw this $5 a share trade. And I was like, what the hell? It just means that I'm going to buy less shares because this is how much money I'm willing to play with, right? So that's what I did, okay? Because the rules still apply regardless of how much money you use. Because if you're playing with $1 million each time you trade, it's the same rules, okay? It hurts different. It hurts a whole lot different, right? But it only hurts if you break your rules, okay? Because if you follow your rules, if you don't deviate and you don't allow the emotion to kick in, you'll be fine, okay? You're going to make it. You're going to do great. That bad boy's going to go up a little bit. You either set your risk management or you pay the frick attention, right? And you get out when you know you're supposed to get out. And that's really the name of it. So in this case, those categories met. So then I went from the 15-minute down to the 5. The 5 is where I'm going to play ball. And the 5-minute is where I need to see the same that I saw on the 15. Okay, because it could be that the 15-minute we're in an uptrend, but the 5-minute is not looking so gravy, right? So I don't want to do that. That's a bad idea, because then there's an inconsistency. It's going up or down, and that's not going to make it a successful trade moving forward. There's going to be a problem there later. I already know it, right? There's too much change in direction. They're not moving the same, right? At the end of 15 minutes, that's great. That means you got to sit there longer for that trade. And that's if and when that doesn't change direction and so forth. And you can't guess that stuff, okay? You got to use the best technical analysis you have, stick to it, and that's it. The wind changes directions, and you don't have shit to do with that, okay? So once those things fit, then I go in, all right, and I look at, so I use the Heikin-Ashi, right? So I know that the Heikin-Ashi is slightly off when it comes, because it's averages, right? If you guys are familiar, this is not a beginner's conversation. So if you're familiar and you understand what I'm talking about, the Heikin-Ashi is doing an averages. So there's less different colors of candlesticks among each other on each, time frame that is playing, whether you're on the 1 minute, the 5 minute, or so forth, So it's always going to go based on an average. And if you watch the way the Heikin-Ashi starts, if this is your candlestick and the next one pops up, it's going to start here. It's going to start at the average. That's how the math is done on that. And then it's either going to go up or down from there. Okay. So you want to pay attention to that. So I look at that, and I look at what type of candlesticks they are, to know when to get in. And at the same time, I have my Stoke. Is that what it's called? I always forget this stuff. I don't spend my time trying to memorize. I'm not in the memorization game here. I'm just going to pick a stock here. so I can look and see. Oh, look, you're still there, 30% up. Um, so I have my RSI at the bottom, and then I have my Stoic RSI. I have both. I like redundancy systems. I need to know that things are moving the way I am expecting them to move based on the decisions I'm getting ready to make, right? So you want to have a system. It doesn't matter what your system is. I could have freaking 20 different stupid technical analysis graphs on here, and they make me feel like whatever they do to my confidence, that's great. Whatever they do for your confidence, maybe you need one, maybe you don't need any. Okay, you look at this one, you look at that, you jump in, you jump out, you make your money. Good for you, right? So, but understand whatever it is that you're doing, that you don't allow for the emotion to be the decision maker there, because you will go broke. I promise you, you will lose all your money, or if you're trading for someone else unlicensed, you will lose their money. Okay, so don't do that. So I look at those different things. I look at the candlestick. What's key with the Heikin-Ashi candlesticks is making sure that if you are buying and it's in the uptrend, is you don't want, so when you see the indecisive is the long wick at the top, long wick at the bottom, and then whatever the gap is of the actual trade that happens in between, right? Those are indecisive movements. And you look for the ones that get smaller and smaller and smaller. And then the very next one after that is going to start giving you an indication of direction, because obviously if there's a wick at the top and a wick at the bottom, the buys and the sells are really aggressive, okay? And there isn't a pure indication on which one is stronger than the other, okay? So as a result of that, you want to make sure that your decision is going to be in the direction that you plan on trading. So if you're looking to short, then that next one after that better be a red candlestick, okay? And there better not be a wick at the top. It needs to be a wick at the bottom, and that bar needs to be fatter. It needs to be a longer bar, because that's the volume, and then they get bigger and bigger and bigger, which tells you that that's the direction it's going, and that there are more of those sell-offs, or in the opposite direction, more of those purchases moving forward. And then as long as your blue is over your red, or if your red is over your blue, you're looking to short. Whichever one of those is in the direction of the type of trade you're looking to do, shorting or not, you make your decision after. So you look at the next bar after that, right? And then what you do is you pause like I just did. No, you look at it, you pay attention, you watch what's happening depending on which timeline you're on. And then I typically jump in right after that one. So you get your indecisive, you get your first bar, and then I'll look for the next one. And then I make a habit of always putting in a horizontal red line at the last higher low, because if it's a higher low, that's my uptrend, right? And then it's going to hit that line. That's my support line. And a good rule of thumb is either watching that, but watching your volume, or waiting for the second, right? The second verification of it hitting that support line and then popping back up again. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it'll go up, 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 drop, up, 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 up again. So you don't have a real true support line there, but that's a good indication that the size of that bar is still huge in trades, right? And that's how you keep moving, right? It's really not rocket science. It's more discipline than it is anything else, I think, is what I've gathered from that. And so I jumped in on this trade. I did great. I followed my rules. It moved. I watched as the bar before was really, really a tall one. And then they started, the next one after that was slightly smaller. The next one after that was slightly smaller than that. What is that telling you? We are starting to get less purchases, and we're about to get to an indecisive trade right there. And lo and behold, I'm like, you know what? I've already gotten above. I was happy with the difference, and I got out. Okay, I was like, all right, I'm above. Once I stayed above my purchase, because we all see it happen. You jump in, I don't know what the share is, doesn't matter what it is. You jump in and it's $5.12, right? And you buy, and you just know it's going to go up, and it goes up to 514, 515, 516, 520, drops 511. You're like, oh, I jumped in at 512. What just happened, right? So depending on your risk management, okay, would have determined whether or not you would have just gotten out, or if you would have waited, because maybe you allow your risk management to be at 5, 10, whatever the math is and the percentage that you're willing to lose, okay, because you have to be willing to lose, all right? You have to understand that that is a part of the outcome, not an outcome you're willing to accept. It is a part of the outcome. It just is what it is, right? So that's where sometimes I like the trailing stop loss, and I try to do a manual version of a trailing stop loss, and that's exactly what I did, actually. And so as it went up and it stayed above where I entered, and then it went up, 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 I started to move my bar up, 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 right? So that the moment it dropped back down, kicked me out. Okay, I was okay with that. Okay, you have to be okay with that, because guess what? It could drop back down, kick you out, and then all of a sudden jump $5, and it's at a $10 share. Guess what? It is what it is. Okay, be happy with what just happened. All right, you made yours and you got out. Okay, you missed that. That's the fear of missing out. That's that FOMO that everyone talks about, and it could work for you or it could work horribly against you. Don't get caught in that. Sometimes you get to benefit from the great movement of that trade, and sometimes you don't, but definitely don't get killed by it, right? So that's the problem that happens. But anyway, so looking at this crazy market, I was forced to spend a little more. I understood in my mind, and I felt comfortable with the fact that, you know what, we're going to have to move up to a higher trade, but play the same rules. And that's what I did. And so I did that. Everything else met the standards that I was looking for, and I got in and I got out. And I did great. And I'm like, all right, game over for today. You know what? It's time to continue with the rest of my day, handle some business with real estate, which reminds me I got to make a call, go over some terms with a lease agreement that I have for a client. It's crazy when you're thinking about stuff you got to do. It's like, got to make that phone call. He was a little confused about how the lease was broken down, and make sure I get back to him on that. Don't leave your clients hanging, right? I did want to cover some stuff that I was looking at on Market Watch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip you guys right on over to this screen. Bip, bip. Am I there? I see myself there. This looks weird. I'm not used to that going like that. There he is, Mark Zuckerberg. Look at that guy, a handsome dude. All right, so it looks like he's freaking out. Right. Apparently, there's some conversation on the projections for Facebook dropping significantly, as Meta is not, I guess, really hitting everybody like he expected, because TikTok is really stealing the show, is what I heard. Not what I heard. It's actually an article I saw yesterday. But here, Facebook is one of only 4 companies in S&P to make this remarkable achievement over the past 10 years, and its stock is already cheap. And the stock is cheap because it's coming down. That was what was happening before. They're not talking about that here. The other thing I saw was the whole metaverse thing, you know, and it looks like what they were saying, what the metaverse, it said metaverse real estate sales expected to reach 1 billion this year. Metaverse real estate sales. Look at this picture here. That's gorgeous, right? This imaginary world, the Matrix, right? It's funny how it's with an M. It's metaverse, and the Matrix is with an M, the Matrix, right? 1 billion metaverse real estate sales expected this year. It says real estate sales on metaverse platforms surpassed $500,000 this year, according to Metaverse Analytics and Metametric Solutions. So for those of you that don't understand metaverse, imagine owning positions, if you will, data positions and locations on the internet. right? And everyone else goes on there and they pay to use that space that is accessible, right? So it's essentially owning, I'm trying to really, really dumb this down here. Owning little storage spaces of data, okay? And people can play and do things and make money using and renting basically your storage space on your data. That is the real estate. So if you buy and then you let someone else go on there and build whatever they want to do and they pay you monthly to use, and let's say they build an online workout, right? And when you go into this virtual world, you see a building that looks like a gym, right? And in this virtual world, people go there with their Oculus or whatever platform they have and they do their workouts. Okay. And they're paying that person for their services because they have these different workout games that they can go on there and do. Meanwhile, that space where they're doing it, you own. So that is your real estate. So they have all of this available on there. People are either going on there, buying it and building games, going on there, buying it and building virtual stores like Amazon type stores and stuff like that. And you go in there and you buy stuff. And then Amazon is the POS system, if you will, the way of making your purchase complete. And then next thing you know, a day later, it shows up at your doorstep because you tried it on in this virtual world, you loved it, and now you have the real thing. That's how you tie the metaverse into the real world. That is what people are slowly starting to visualize and see, and that is real estate in the meta. So that's what's happening. And do they break that down? The analytics company has projected that real estate sales in the metaverse could double this year, reaching nearly 1 billion in 2022, which is now. Do you think real estate sales in the metaverse will top 1 billion this year? Let us know your comments, etc., etc. Kevin Helms made a comment about that. Who's the writer on this? Did we get it? It is Kevin. Okay, he wrote this 12 hours ago. Kevin, young dude, breaking down some pretty good topics there. Good for you on bitcoin.com. But, you know, you have to be able to understand where we're headed with everything and don't sit and wonder. I mentioned this earlier. You know, there's a lot going on. I mean, you know, Ukraine and Russia, you know, all the European politics going back and forth with that. Then we have a lot of second guessing and Monday morning quarterbacking going on with the pandemic stuff and the vaccines and, you know, mask your child, don't mask your child, stick yourself with a needle, don't stick yourself with a needle, naturally vaccinated or vaccinated, you know, who's better, you know, who's right, who's wrong. I guarantee you lawsuits are going to be surfacing like crazy because they are going to prove a lot of misinformation, and you're going to start seeing that. And when that starts surfacing, you're going to have, you know, quite the uprising of people and their told you so's and attorneys jumping in and orchestrating that, and you know, then the media playing on it the way they do. You know what was really funny is you know, you watch different movies where they show and depict how government does a great job with keeping the public slightly misinformed, but also fighting amongst each other. Because if you're fighting amongst each other, then you're less likely to fight against the government, right? Because it's harder for you to join forces and overturn if I am not the argument, right? You fight each other about the argument because there are two opposing topics that split you in half because somehow they're attached to the decisions you make in your day. You see that gameplay there? So when people get a little smarter and figure that out, then we can get away from that. But right now, it's probably not gonna happen. You know, so I just wanted to switch back to the screen because I like it. I like the Joker. It's a cool dude. But yeah, this is all I wanted to cover today. Didn't want to get too deep. I just wanted to kind of rant, if you will, about what's going on and what you guys need to really pay attention to. So you have those, you have your wanderers that just sit and wonder what's going on. You go to work, you come home, and then you repeat the next day. All right. Then you have those that are, are creative visionaries and they go out and they create, right? They create jobs, they create homes, they create lives and livings, places for livings, and create futures for people. You got those people. Those people aren't sitting and wondering. Those people are looking ahead, right? They're very much the visionary. They're envisioning the future and determining what they're going to do. And then you have those that are clueless and don't care, right? They want simple. They don't want to do anything. Just so you know, the more you want, the more you have to do, and the more responsibilities you have to take on, the more problems you got to solve, and that's how you make more money, right? You don't make more money but solve less problems. Please show me where that's true. That's not true. Maybe you need the genie in the lamp, and you got to rub the lamp, and you get what you want. Otherwise, last time I checked, that doesn't exist. So that's it. As I sip my coffee, I think I've covered it all. Bringing it to you next week. Oh, I did not tell you about some of the deals. All right, so my shopping plaza deal, where I am mentoring another dude under me. He's learning. It's been a rough road for him. Big thing is he has to learn to not get stepped on by his buyer, because it takes me having to call the buyer that I let him have control of while we work through this deal and reel his buyer back into reality, because he really doesn't have the faith in his friend who brought him in on this deal, because he knows his friend. And, if you know someone and they take on a new job title, you know them for what they used to do, right? So he brings me in because I'm the commercial specialist, right? And so he's trying to reiterate the stuff I tell him to his buyer, and his buyer is like, all right, I'm going to go and consult with this other person, because he doesn't believe him, right? So it kind of slowed things down a little bit, and it's unfortunate, but we're good to go. We're in probably the last week of our inspection period, and we're negotiating some small terms that we need to get passed to make everything nice and smooth for a nice, smooth closing. We all want smooth closings. So that's great. Doctor's office that I'm working right now for Elise, we got to review that. That's what I was talking about, the call I got to make. So we're going to close that up. This is his second location. This is excellent for him. Got him a great deal. Got him where it's about $50,000 in work for the rebuild of this space, and the landlord will cover half. Excellent. Great negotiations. Partly because the doctor's office has been in the game for 30 years at his current location. This is his second location. So he is already the proof in the pudding. Listen, my system works, and now I'm going to lease from you, which tells you I'm going to be in your space for about 30 years. So I'm going to relieve you of any stress of not having a tenant there. You're about to get a strong tenant. Please, consider helping and doing everything you can to make sure I get in there as smoothly and as efficiently as possible. And this landlord is a smart dude, clearly, because he has agreed to do so, and it looks good moving forward. Excellent, right? Got a young lady in a new business, and opposite situation. They don't trust her because she's new, right? So she does have a great model. I got her to write us a private letter to the landlord, and we're working on that to see if I can get her in this space. It's not going to be easy, right? Because they're like, well, we don't know your system really works yet, because currently you're subleasing from someone else. So how do we know that you're going to bring in the volume to be able to pay our rent? Because just because you have a business doesn't mean that, someone's just going to open arms and take you in as a tenant, because you can come in there and fail, and now they got to redo everything and get another person in there, and it's just a headache. So nobody wants to do that. No one as a landlord. So understand that just because you have a business and you're in there and you think you have your first last security to jump in there, that they're just going to take. No, they're not taking you. They want to know that you're bringing a product that's going to make their plaza look great, right? I'm bringing a product that's going to make my plaza look horrible, because who wants that, right? So that's what that's all about when it comes to the decision making that the landlords have when considering whether or not they're going to accept you as a tenant. Right? These are all factors that are very important. And then I have another one for a Major League Baseball player. He's getting his facility. We got their lease. So these are 3 deals that are looking good. And then I just picked up the other big one that I said it's important that you don't keep yourself silent. You get out there and talk. I found an amazing pocket deal for 11 million, 7-cap office building. What? 100% occupied. We're talking about a great deal. If someone on here is watching and you have that cash flow and you're ready to go, I'll sell it to you. But I'll tell you right now, this is hot and ready. I got the buyer already aware. Let's see if this goes through. You guys stay in touch about that, because you'll find out if I'm about to make a really nice commission on that one. You know what I mean? That's how you do it. That's the name of this game. This is how we play ball. Thank you guys for watching my live as we talked about the economy. Today's rant was going on. Like I said, do me a favor and like and subscribe that channel on YouTube. Follow on Facebook. Jump in. Ring that bell so that you can get those updates the moment I go live, because that's what we do. As I sip my coffee and I talk to you guys about business and money, school you a little bit on trading and so forth. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you again